So Volvo are backtracking on their 100% EV goal. That it was a very public thing. Volvo's former CEO Henrik Green, not so long ago, said this: "There is no long-term future for cars with an internal combustion engine." And he also said at the same time in the same speech, "Instead of investing in a shrinking business, we choose to invest in the future," which sounds almost a bit like PR speak, but also I think he meant it. I think he knows what's going on. The new plan, I think, is really quite common sense. They're kind of going with a hedging strategy, in my opinion, rather than going with 100% EVs by 2030 and being so black and white about it. No cars unless it's electric. They're now allowing 10% of their vehicle sales to be non-EVs. They ran a poll amongst their customers in 2023, actually, for the whole year. 88% of their customers said that they would still consider a Volvo EV if the EVs were affordable and comparably priced to their current cars. That's what was said. And 12% of the people also said that they would not get a Volvo EV or just don't mind. So there's that category of other people. This was told to me as well by a chap who runs a Volvo dealership in Australia. I won't name it. So I believe that to be true, although I'm not allowed to show you any evidence of that. So clearly what they're doing is allowing themselves to have some slack to serve those people that simply will not buy an EV. They just will not do it. And I know a lot of people don't like EVs, but actually they do want a Volvo. And you also have to consider that it is Volvo, it is a business, they want to make money first and foremost. And they also sell vehicles to markets where they really don't push the green agenda or electric vehicles at all. Places, for example, Australia, America. You could kind of say, I won't say the others, but basically they're not pushing EVs very much. They're allowing it to sort of be a part of the current time and the future, but they're not pushing it aggressively. Definitely not compared to Europe with the European Union or China, although I suppose China aren't pushing the green agenda, just EVs, for whatever reasons you can think of. If you've got any reasons, put them in the comments. I'm sure some people would be interested in reading. Take a look at this graph I saw online yesterday. It's a really interesting graph. If you look at Norway statistics for EV sales, 94% of all new car sales in Norway are electric vehicles. And it's quite tough to get that last few percent. And unless there is no other option on the market for people to buy another car, Norway will never likely reach 100% EV adoption. That has to come through governmental policy. And I know people in Norway that absolutely hate electric cars. I know I've got one person in mind specifically, rages about it, hates electric cars, and hates that they lose range in the winter, for example. The cited reason from a few people I know is that Norway's energy is now no longer state-owned, and the price fluctuates violently sometimes in certain places at certain times, and electric is being sold off to the continent via large cables, and Norwegians are now freezing to death because of the electric prices being so high. And other than wind harvesting, it's quite tough actually to produce electricity in Norway as an ordinary person at home with ordinary resources, at also keeping it affordable and comfortable when with your electric production. Not everyone's going to have a 30-meter wind turbine, for example, but also you don't want to keep running outside and faffing around with things and playing around. It's quite complex to do that, I think, in Norway. If you also have to feed, for example, wood pellets into a wood burner to produce electricity through the heat that produces, that's a bit of a pain, I think, for some people. I don't think you could expect half the population to do that in Norway. So generally it's the state's responsibility to make sure that it is something that people can tap into and then pay for. And Norwegian politicians are shafting people, basically. They really, really are. And I know Norwegians are really vocal in my comments, so feel free to have at it in the comments, but they are kind of, it's not good, is it? It might work fine for some people in Canada, an occasional old person in a mountain burning wood pellets, as far as I can tell. It's not good for the masses, I don't think. So that was the reason that I've been told by Norwegians. I know online as well, people have strong opinions on this, but interestingly, petrol prices are literally the same. It's the same construct, right? So I think it's a weak argument. If you have a petrol car and the petrol prices have always been, say, like here in Australia, $1 to $1.20 for the last, so many years, and then all of a sudden it goes to 160, 180, $2 a litre. If it keeps on going like that, people will be feeling the pinch. That's for sure. So yeah, I don't want to say it, but you're a bit buggered if the petrol prices start doubling. So and there's nothing you can do because you can't really produce your own petrol at home. And in fairness, the petrol prices in Norway are as insane as they can be, I think, even for Norwegians. If you're a full-time employed Norwegian person, you may not be overly bothered, but I know a lot of Norwegians are. You know, Norway has not too many jobs and, you know, a few people. So there are definitely a lot of people who aren't in full-time work in Norway who feel that pinch. I know for a fact. I have Norwegian family there, and I used to live there. In the UK, energy prices have been going crazy. A few years ago as well, my mum used to pay 12 pence per kilowatt hour in the middle of England, and then within literally 3 years during the pandemic, it went to 35 pence per kilowatt hour and then down to 27. I think she now pays 25 or 27. If that happens to petrol, people are going to be feeling the pinch. If that happens to gas for your central heating in England, for example, people will be feeling the pinch. And I know a couple of family members in the UK that have been getting insurance quotes for their cars literally double what they were 5 years ago. It's not good. Capitalism is screwing people, I think. I understand the fear that people have because not everyone is able to absorb those fluctuations. If you disagree, then you can likely absorb that fluctuation, can't you? That's why you're affording yourself the ability to disagree. It's a crap thing what's happening out there. So what do you all think? Let me know in the comments, and I will be active in the comments literally as soon as this goes live for a few hours, clicking on it every 10-20 minutes. I'm Ben Alexander. Thank you very much for joining me for today's video. I'm a bit more settled now, so I'll be making more videos all the time, which is awesome because I love making videos, and I think for me, at least anyway, it's more of a fun thing to do than a job, even though I do get paid for these videos and when you watch them and that sort of thing. And anyone who joins on Patreon or YouTube memberships, you know, I largely do this for the fun anyway. But yeah, also at the end of this video, in a few seconds, I will put a bit of a clip of what I've been up to for the last 2 weeks. And also, just a side note, go back and watch the last video if you want a chance to win a free electric vehicle charger. Anyone who uses, I think, 240 volts, maybe the charger works with 120, I don't really know, anywhere in the world, go back and watch that last video and just write a comment, because weirdly, I think there's only 18 comments on that video, which is not very many, and there's a free charger on offer, and it's literally just sat in a room over there, and I want to send it to someone and give it away. So if you want a free charger for any reason, just email me or write in the comments, or preferably do what I asked in the last video and write a comment specific to the question in the video on the last video. So yeah, thank you.
For those of you that were interested, some people commented and said to give you an update. So this is the house I have in Australia, on the east coast of Australia, in New South Wales. And yeah, so I've just spent 2 days mowing. It was really long, super long, the grass, and back-breaking work to bring it back down to just ordinary levels of growth. And yeah, needs a fence, needs a bit of a work on the chimney. If you can see up there on the chimney, a little bit broken. And yeah, nice house in a nice town, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be sold soon, and just needs to be brought back into a bit more of a healthy shape, really. So yeah, there you go. I've done there's a lot of stuff to do inside, you know, polish the floors, they need polishing, and I think maybe the top part of the roof needs painting, and I don't know, a couple of little hinges and handles and things like that. It hasn't had much done to it, so it just needs to be tidied up. But that's what I've been doing, just repairing and bringing it back to life. I'll show you around the other side. So there we go. Not sure it looks very big on the camera, the garden, but it's pretty big. It's really big. And yeah, it's quite a big yard, and nice views over the mountains and stuff. That's nice. We're not in the city here, so there's none of that people lifting up and gentrification on their houses. It's just house, carport, shed, or old copper, technically. That actually does have a copper in it, the old one with a fire, and a genuine copper, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, sorry for the complete and utter lack of videos recently. I've just had a couple of weeks of moving around and it's just disabled me completely. I've only just literally finished off setting up the office, and I can get some videos put out every day, hopefully from now. But yeah, hopefully back in Europe in a month or so, month and a half, something like that. And that's it. I'm done, because I've just not been overly happy in Australia. Honestly, my time in Australia has not been overly happy. I feel as a European person, I've always loved Europe, so I'm just really happy to just stay in Europe. I just think it's awesome in Europe. But there are issues everywhere, obviously, in Australia and Europe. But I think there are certain aspects of living in Europe, like travel. I feel like I give those up, and I'm not really willing to give that up. You know, little holidays to Prague and nice culture and food and stuff like that. You really just fly to the other side of the world as a European person, and then you live on an island, and you know, housing and all sorts of things in Australia is super expensive, and I'd rather have some more. I don't know, I just prefer Europe, honestly. But nice though, beautiful places in Australia, some of them, especially in Victoria, really nice places down there. And still never got to visit Adelaide, but thank you to the viewer that offered to visit. But there we go, yeah, there's my house. I won't show you inside, but that's it.